Should I tell my mom that my stepdad is putting the moves on me? AKA her husband. My mom and I have always had a really good relationship. She's pretty much been my best friend all throughout my life. I was bullied heavily in school, so I always confided in my mom. I mean, I tell my mom everything, even about boys. When I was in high school, my parents got divorced. Right after the divorce, my mom had set her sights on this one guy. He lived in our neighborhood, was single, and had a lot of money. Now, you could say my mom wanted his money, or you could say that she fell in love with him. I'm not sure which one. They ended up getting married right when I turned 17. My mom and I moved into his house, and it was amazing. It was actually more like a mansion. He had a pool, a movie theater, and a tennis court. So my house was the house that all my friends would come to. And my mom was really happy, I could tell. But there were a few things that I didn't like about my new stepdad. For example, whenever my friends would come over, he would always try to hang out with us. At first, I thought it was just really annoying. But after a year of this happening, I realized it was actually kind of gross. So I opened up to my mom and I told her that I didn't like him hanging around my friends. And my mom laid the hammer down. After that, he would not come around at all whenever my friends and I were downstairs. Here's where things start to get a little icky. When I turned 19, I could tell he was staring at me more and more. I usually would walk around the house in my bikini whenever I was gonna go in the pool. Sometimes I would wear shorts and crop tops around the house, or be in a sports bra and leggings whenever I was working out. But his staring clearly made me uncomfortable. So I literally had to change the way that I dressed. And I didn't want to tell my mom just because I thought maybe I was reading too much into it. Instead, I told my best friend. And when I told my best friend, she told me that I needed to be really careful around him. She told me I shouldn't even be alone with him in the house. I started to get really paranoid. One day, my stepdad asked me why I stopped dressing the way that I used to. Point blank, I said to him, "Well, you stare a lot and it makes me uncomfortable." The smile on his face turned into pure anger. Then he started calling me stupid and ignorant. He said that I was dumb for thinking that and that he was totally in love with my mom and that he would never ever see me that way. But he continued to stare at me. A few months later, we decided to have a party on my mom's birthday. Well, my stepdad got hammered, and when no one was looking, he sat down next to me and put his hand on my lap. That's when he said that he missed the way that I used to dress. And the look on his face was disgusting. When he put his hand on my lap, I pushed him away and told him he was being disgusting. That's when he grabbed my hand and told me that there was nothing wrong with him appreciating my beauty. And remember, we're at my mom's birthday party. I went over to my mom with the intention to tell her, but she was having so much fun and it was her birthday, I didn't want to spoil it. For the rest of the night, I had to avoid him. He would follow me everywhere and try to grab my hand. I finally went up to my bedroom and locked myself in there. A few days after the party, he came up to me and said, "I need to apologize to you." And I said, "What for?" That's when he said, "You know why." Then he told me he made reservations at a really nice restaurant for us to go to. And of course, I said no. That's when he told me that we were both adults, that we could hang out together when my mom wasn't around. I said no, and I've been avoiding him since then. But I think avoiding him is doing the opposite. He now started sending me gym selfies. I told him he needed to stop, and he said he just wanted to send me his progress so that I could be proud of him. Ew, never. I decided that I should move out and I started looking for my own apartment. I thought maybe I should wait until I move out to tell my mom, or maybe not tell her at all. No, this is gonna break her heart and flip her world upside down. She has a really comfy life with him, but I don't think that's worth losing me, right? How should I tell my mom? My biggest fear is that she doesn't believe me. What should I do?
Am I wrong for asking my sister to get over the fact that I proposed to my girlfriend at her wedding? My sister got married 5 years ago. Her husband's parents were quite rich and they paid for a destination wedding for 5 days. They even paid for the flights and the stay for all the immediate family members. Back then, that was hugely romantic and it felt like a fairy tale. Although we are doing much better financially now, back then I was sure I would never be able to do something like this. I didn't even plan to do this, but I was caught up in the moment and asked my girlfriend to marry me. She said yes, but we did not say anything to anyone. I did not want to step on any toes. A few months later, I bought an engagement ring and we told everyone that I had proposed after a romantic meal at home, and that was that. A few months ago, we went on vacation to the same place my sister got married. My sister, her husband, her 2 kids, me, and my wife. We were getting drunk, having fun, when my wife told them that I had proposed to her outside this very restaurant all those years ago. My sister was pissed and she stormed out. My brother-in-law also feels that it was cheap of me to use his parents' money for a proposal. That's not... What? Cheap of him? You used your parents' money. What the fuck's the difference? It's been weeks and my sister is still cold towards us. I said it happened years ago and to just let it go. She said that she is hurt and that was supposed to be her fabulous wedding. She says that the place and time is memorable to us as a place we agreed to get married and that it will never be remembered as a place she got married. She was very mad that I hurt her feelings and now I'm just asking her to let it go. It happened years ago. We never told anyone. Is this as big as a deal as everyone is making it out to be? Am I wrong for proposing all those years ago? Oh my gosh. The entitlement. Like, what is wrong with you? No one knew. Well, who cares? Why?
Am I the asshole for banning my sister from seeing my daughter after she took her to a Tinder date's house? Me, 25 female, and my sister, Lexi, 26 female, have a pretty good relationship. Lexi is also pretty close to my daughter, Emily, 4 female. Lexi has babysat Emily several times over the years, and there's never been a problem. A couple of days ago, my boyfriend and I were going out to celebrate our 2nd anniversary. Lexi offered to babysit for us, and everything seemed to be set up. My boyfriend and I were planning to be gone for about 8 hours. Unfortunately, about 4 hours into the outing, my boyfriend started to get a migraine. I decided to just drop him off at home so he could relax. I sent Lexi a text telling her I was on my way home early. After I got home, I noticed that Lexi's car wasn't in my driveway. I went inside and called out for Lexi and Emily. They were nowhere in the house, so I immediately called Lexi. After I called her 4 times, she finally picked up the phone. I started yelling and demanded to know where the hell she was. She said we would talk after she got back to the house. About 20 minutes later, Lexi and Emily showed up and I put Emily to bed. After she was sound asleep, I exploded on Lexi and told her to start talking. She told me that she was chatting with a random guy from Tinder and he asked her to come over. She said that she knew Emily would just sleep the whole time, so she agreed to come over. She said that everything was fine. Emily just ate some snacks and went to sleep in the guy's spare bedroom. I completely lost it. I cussed her out. I asked her how she could do something so reckless. She got mad and told me it wasn't a big deal. She would never let anything happen to Emily. I told her that she had no right to take my daughter to a random guy's home. She said that she can read people, and she knew that this guy wouldn't hurt anybody. I told her that she's nuts, and she put my daughter in God knows how much danger. I told her I can no longer trust her and that I never want to speak to her again. I also told her that she's never allowed to see Emily again. She started crying and saying that I'm overreacting to the whole thing. I told her that I paid her to protect my daughter, not endanger her so she could go have fun. She continued to cry and beg, but I eventually kicked her out. My mom says that even though Lexi messed up big time, I still overreacted. My mom says that I should reconsider separating Lexi and Emily because they're family. Am I the asshole?
My wife and I have been married for 18 years. We have our 16-year-old daughter who's been dating a slightly shy and awkward young man for about 3 to 4 months now. He seems very nervous around my daughter and has admitted in passing comments here and there to my wife and I that he can't believe she agreed to date him and that he thinks she's way out of his league. He seems very respectful, just shy. My wife is usually an independent, awesome woman and her ideals align closely with mine, particularly in terms of feminism and equality. We have both striven to raise our daughter to be as independent and capable as possible. Since my daughter has been dating this kid, my wife has changed considerably and has given our daughter advice that has left me with raised eyebrows more than once. Some of the advice that I've heard my wife give out is, oh, it's cute for boys to pay for everything, especially in your first relationship, or, oh honey, don't worry about that, he can pay for you, if he really liked you, he would, and similar. I've tried to balance this out by telling my daughter straight away, 2 people in a partnership should be contributing equally. And my personal favorite, if someone asks if they can take you out for dinner, it's reasonable to expect them to pay, but if someone asks you to grab dinner with them, it's reasonable to split the payment. I figured that would be an easy way for a young person to understand the difference. However, I've noticed my daughter becoming more and more entitled to her boyfriend's money. They haven't been anywhere, obviously, since we're home, but she talks about him like, oh, I'll just ask him to pay for X, which leaves a bad taste in my mouth. She also flippantly bragged and mentioned that she gets him to buy gift cards for her, etc. by mentioning her mother's advice. If you really liked me, you pay for X. I spoke to my wife privately and told her my concerns. She insists it's a rite of passage for girls and it's cute that she should feel this guy completely spoiling her. I told her it's not cute for her to be thinking that it's acceptable to view relationships as personal ATMs. And my wife became very angry with me and is now calling me an asshole with a lot of hostility. Am I the asshole for telling my wife it's not cute for her to encourage our teenage daughter to expect her boyfriend to pay for everything in their relationship?
Am I wrong for ruining my sister-in-law's gender reveal? So I, 31 male, have 3 beautiful daughters, 7, 5, and 2, which for some reason people in my life think I'm not completely happy with. If I had $1 for every time I heard, I bet you wish you had a son, or are you ever gonna try again for a boy, I'd be a millionaire. Look, if my wife got pregnant again and had a boy, my reaction would be the same as the other 3. In my opinion, as long as your child is healthy, who honestly cares? Oh, props to this dad. I never hear guys talk like this. It's so refreshing to hear. The worst and most annoying people towards my wife, give me a son, are my sister-in-law, 29, who has 4 boys and now pregnant with her 5th child, and my mother-in-law. Last Sunday, we were at my mother-in-law's for Sunday lunch, and my sister-in-law said after dessert to come out to the back garden as they had a balloon to announce the gender of their new baby. Well, long story short, she's having another boy. After everyone congratulated her, she made her way to us and said, I bet you wish just once it would be blue for you guys, then turned to my wife and said, it's never too late to try again. It royally pissed me off because my oldest was in earshot. I turned to her and said, well, actually, Alice, I wouldn't give one of my daughters dirty socks for what boys wear in Europe, and the fact that you base your love on your child's gender says a lot about you as a mother. I don't need a son, so I suggest you take your advice and stick it. She stuttered for a second and then burst into tears, saying I was putting her and her kids down. The mood was ruined, and after that, we left. Since then, my in-law said she deserves an apology, and it's been a long-running joke, so I shouldn't have driven my sister-in-law to tears. Wait, what is it called? Can't take what you... Eat what you dish, can't take what you dish. I can't remember the saying.
Am I the asshole for refusing to pay the babysitter for new glasses after my daughter broke her old ones? I'm going to preface this by saying that I, male 35, am a widower with 2 kids, 9 and 11. I recently got back to work, and since I work night shifts, I had to get the kids a babysitter. They're at school during the day, and my sister stays with them. I was able to find a babysitter with the help of a coworker. Actually, they're related, and things have been going pretty well, except for a few days ago. The babysitter called me while I was at work to tell me that my 9-year-old daughter broke her glasses. I got home, heard both sides of the story, and came to a conclusion that it was in fact an accident. But the babysitter said my daughter broke them intentionally after she refused to let her outside late in the evening. I asked my 11-year-old daughter, and she said the babysitter's story is accurate, but since she and her sister have a beef then, I figured she lied to me to set her sister up. My 9-year-old daughter cried and said she didn't mean it and it was an accident. I apologized to the babysitter for the misunderstanding, but she insisted that there was no misunderstanding and then asked me to pay her for a new pair of glasses. I was taken aback by her request and told her I thought we talked this out and rolled it out as an accident, but she insisted it wasn't an accident. I apologized but refused and said it was unfair to expect me to pay, especially since she didn't pay attention to keep her glasses safe regardless of whether it was an accident or not. The babysitter argued with me, then started crying, swearing that my daughter broke them to get back at her. My 11-year-old daughter sided with her, but my 9-year-old said she is only siding with the babysitter for her own benefits. The girls started fighting, and I ended up telling the babysitter to leave. She got my coworker involved, and she said I should take responsibility and pay the babysitter for new glasses since she cannot afford them, being a broke college student and in need for glasses. I apologized, but I refused to pay. My coworker got upset and shamed me for condoning my younger daughter's actions and treating the babysitter poorly when she is the victim in this situation. It has been days and the babysitter is still wanting me to pay for new glasses, but I feel like she's trying to use the fact that I am in dire need of help and is hoping to get extra money out of my pocket. So, am I the asshole for refusing to pay the babysitter for new glasses?
Babysitting horror stories, story time. When I had my Craigslist ad up, I would get a lot of calls to go babysit. A woman hired me to come watch her twin daughters who were a year old. When I pulled up, it was a really nice house, but out in the middle of nowhere. When I went in, she had my $200 up front. She said, I want you to stay the night, but I'll be back at 8:30 in the morning. So I said, okay. She showed me where everything was, and she left. She comes home at 4:30 in the morning, digging through the bedroom, through the house, throwing things in her purse. I said, oh, you're home? I'll go ahead and go. She said, no, I'll be back at 8:30. Just stay. So she leaves again. 8:30 rolls around. She ain't home. I called her again. Oh, I'll be there in a few minutes. At 10 o'clock, she finally comes in. She drags in 4 huge trash bags and starts dumping them out all over the floor, and they're like really nice handbags. She brings in a box of jewelry, 3 big tubs full of brand new shoes, like a bunch of brand new stuff. I said, whoa, you hit the lottery. She said, oh, this is what I do for a living. I buy, trade, and sell stuff, so I get to keep a lot of it. She said, here, take this for your troubles, and she handed me a brand new handbag. I said, wow, thank you so much. I mean, I never get handbags, so I really appreciated it. She pulled out a wad of money that big, full of hundreds, and counted out $800 and tried to give it to me. I said, no, I can't accept that. She kept insisting, here, take the money, take the money. I said, no, I cannot take that much money. She said, well, at least go through some of this stuff and pick out whatever you want. You can have it. So she gave me a trash bag, and I picked out a few things and loaded it up. I walk out the door and see a carload of men pulling up, blocking my car in. These 3 men come walking up to us, and the other 3 go running around the house with ball bats. The biggest one gets in Kelly's face and says, where's the money? He said, I know you robbed my boy this morning. Now where's my stuff? She said, I don't know what you're talking about. Ask her. She's the one with a bag full of stuff. I said, ask me nothing. You just gave this to me. I said, look, I've been babysitting all night long. I'm trying to get home. I threw the bag of stuff down and told him he could have it because I just wanted to go home. He opened it up and said, yeah, this is my stuff. Kelly spoke up and said, I don't know where she got it from. I've been at home all night. I said, you a damn lie. I've stayed here and babysat your kids all night. You was out. So me and her go back and forth for a few minutes, and the guy says, where's my money? I said, look, man, one thing about me, I can't stand a thief or a liar. I did not take your stuff. I said, all I got is this $200 that she paid me for babysitting yesterday. He had his boys pat us down. They didn't find anything on me, but they found over $6,000 in cash from her bra to her pockets to her pants. She was full of money. He said, Kelly, I'm giving you one last chance. Where is the rest of my money? She kept playing dumb. I don't know where your money is. He said, where'd you get all that money? She said, oh, I cashed my check this morning. He said, it's Sunday, Kelly. I said, Kelly, stop playing games with this man. Give him his money. Man came running out the house and said, hey, I found all your stuff. I said, Kelly, give this man his money. Your kids are screaming in there, and they're beating the winners out of your house. He told me to take the 2 kids and get the hell out of there. Just then, 2 sheriff deputies pull up. Apparently somebody had seen her car that morning and got the tag number and called police and made a report. So they came out to her house to investigate and found all of us standing in the yard. CPS took her kids that day. I didn't get in no trouble.
Story time, because some people like them. Okay, I was flying home from a flight from New York to back home, Denver, whatever. Fuck you guys. You all know where I live now. And little me is just like, I am anxious as hell, right? So I'm just chilling there. And this flight attendant comes by, and he's like, do you like wine? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, gives me this like little bottle. And I was like, hell yeah. So I'm, sipping it, like having a good time. I didn't ask for this. And, and then he comes back with like this like first class sleeping kit, right? And he's like, here. And I'm like, thanks. But he gave no one else this thing. And I was like, okay. Then he's like, then he's coming by, and this is a 4-hour flight. I don't know. Was it? Felt like it. Comes by to pick up people's trash and then slips another bottle on my tray. And I was like, a second one? Hell yeah! So I'm like sick and I'm pouring it up, having a good time. Then he comes back again with this like box. By the way, I'm in row 30. Like, I'm not in first class, bitch. So he comes back with this box, this first class snack box, and inside of it is a note. And the note has his full name and number, and is requesting to be my sugar daddy / boyfriend / shopping. What? And when he gave me the second bottle, he leaned in and said, if you want a Louis Vuitton purse or jewelry, something like that, he said, just let me know, like, I'm your guy. And I laughed because I was like, haha. And I said, wouldn't that be nice? I wish, I said. Then, bitch comes back after he gives me this very uncomfortable box. I'm now uncomfortable, right? I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, this guy knows who I am. Maybe he's subbed. Like, I kind of am getting a little anxious, right? And I'm trapped on this plane. Comes back with a third one, to which I didn't drink, of fucking course. I'm literally like, I was fucked up on this plane, right? And I was like, bro, I felt so weird. Anyway, I got off the plane, looking down. I was like kind of freaked out. But yeah, and then he was on the same shuttle as me, and I did a 180, and I saw him about to get on the same shuttle as me, and I did a 180. I was like, nope, fuck this. So I felt kind of uncomfortable. Don't do that. You probably follow me. Hi, don't do that. But thank you for the wine.